Ridge is relatively small, and any Board of Education may have to make trade-offs. If you had to choose between a new program or a modest tax reduction, which would you prioritize and why? And Rosemary will go first.
Sure. So I believe that every dollar has to have a measurable outcome. So when we look at programs, if it is a new program, is it something that we can sustain over time, not just for a short period of time? So we have to really be careful when we bring in, let's say, new staff for a new program or a new initiative if we're not able to sustain it long-term. I also want to prioritize programs that have direct student impact, but we also have to realize that there's a trade-off, right? As taxpayers, we have to be mindful that a large percentage of school funding comes from local taxes. So that is not going away, I don't think at any time soon, but also being mindful of the impact it has on the community. But at the core, our public schools are so critical to our property values, and we have to really consider, you know, a small savings could have a major impact long term.
I agree. You know, from my perspective, and just generalizing, but I would always prioritize new programs and enrichment. I think those programs improve the quality of the education for our students. They keep the schools competitive. They make them attractive to new families. And great schools, you hit it on the head, it's property values, right? You could be penny wise and dollar foolish and save a little bit on taxes, but you'd have an outsized loss on your property taxes. So clear to me that enrichment and keeping the schools great is important.
So when it comes to this question, enrichment and after-school activities are something that is near and dear to me. We need these outside co-curriculars essentially to like keep our kids wanting to stay engaged in our school environment. And I look to you, Emery, because you are my child. Sorry. But yes, in terms of programs, it again must be measurable. The goals and the outcomes, it's good to have good rationale and why we want to have these programs, if they're going to be effective or not, right? And then the impact on the product being our children. And so making sure that the programs and curriculum and enrichment is going to positively impact our kids. And so looking at all of those things, as well as the budget, the finance, obviously that comes into play. But I'm more concerned about like the impact of our students and whether or not it's going to be an effective program.
Thank you. And on the topic of technology, infrastructure, and security upgrades, how do you assess the current state of school infrastructure in Park Ridge, and what upgrades or investments would you advocate for in the short or medium term? Matthew first.
Great. Well, based on the last board meeting, it was clear that the Buildings and Grounds Committee is telling us that we're going to be facing some important initiatives and projects over the next few years, like the school roofs and the fields and et cetera. But before advocating for any specific solution, to me it's always important to educate yourself first. I'd like to understand where things stand today, what's been planned for already, and then I'd get to work finding solutions once we get the lay of the land. I believe my experience running highly complex and multi-year projects gives me the tools to ask the right questions, develop a full picture of the district's needs, and then build both short and long-term plans and the related budgets.
Yes. This is one area where I would look to kind of like the educators and the people that actually like do this work. Technology has been kind of a soft spot for us at Eastbrook in terms of like the technology, not necessarily technology, but like internet and like phone service at our school. So that is something that like I would want to look more into, seeing where our current state is, getting feedback from them, and again, using the collective of power minds to make an informed decision.
So the board has a standing committee on infrastructure, technology, and facilities. So seeing where their work is has short and long-term goals established, but also building or learning from the people in the building, whether it's the building and grounds director, the director of technology, and really speaking to them to see where we are, where maybe we have some challenges, and our long-term planning for those. We really need to look at capital planning, how we can utilize the money that we have to address some of the facility issues. And, you know, technology is ever evolving, and we need to stay current with it, giving the best tools to our students. And again, going back to those learning spaces and just looking at how we can utilize those learning spaces in the best way possible.
And on the topic of equity and differentiated support, there are always students who need extra support. How would you ensure that those students don't get left behind? And I believe you're first.
Me?
Where I work in my school, there's various ways that we collect data on our students. It's not just academic, right? It's focus groups. It's how many kids or students are active in the programs or activities that we serve. And so using that data and rationale to make decisions that'll impact them, right? Speaking to parents, of course, but hearing from the students, because they have a voice, and like, don't discard their voice as a way or a tool to like help us and make decisions that are that's in the best interest of them. And so, yeah.
So I think it's really important when we look at student progress and areas of support to look at data, especially in K-6, on literacy scores and math scores, and identifying students as early as possible, whether it's in basic skills remediation, developing an individual learning plan, but identifying the students as early as possible so that we can get them the support to really thrive in an academic program that's suited for them. I have experience being an enrichment teacher as well, and we can't just think about our students that maybe struggle academically, but we need to think about the students that are achieving and meeting grade level standards when they come in September, and how we can address their needs as high achieving learners. And lastly, we also need to think about just support for students that maybe are need social emotional support or counseling. And you know, I think it's important to be mindful that it's not just academic. Students need to feel safe and respected and want to have good social connections. So finding ways for us to support students. And one thing that I'm extremely proud of, I was talking to a few parents that asked about like the middle school and high school experience. I think being in such a small district, you know, sometimes there's a trade-off, but I think it allows the staff to really know our students, and when they need support, whether it's academic, social, emotionally, they are there for the students. So that's, I think, something that we should be proud of, and the staff identifying who needs support and where and how.
I believe it's our duty to give every student an equal opportunity to succeed. And so first, I would educate myself on the specific needs of our students through conversations with other board members, the superintendent, faculty, families as appropriate. And then with that full understanding, I'd advocate for new policies or changes to existing policies to ensure that every student gets the most support possible within the realities of our financial resources.
And on the topic of curriculum, innovation, and college readiness, Park Ridge High School offers AP courses, and the district shows relatively strong outcomes in these courses. What new curricula, new pathways, or innovations would you like to see introduced or expanded? I believe you go first.
Thank you. So this is an area that I have a lot of professional experience in. AP classes and offering a variety of AP classes is really important. But there are other pathways through what's called Option 2. So this is specifically an example for high school. But Option 2 is mandated by the state that each school have options for students that are seeking alternatives. So it could be beyond AP classes where students take dual enrollment classes. I've had partnerships with Seton Hall and Ramapo and Fairleigh Dickinson. So we can explore dual enrollment classes where students are earning college credits in high school. Another area is the technology and trades. So not every student, maybe college is not in their pathway, and we need to find alternatives for students. So being such a small school district, maybe we can't offer it here, but there are outside resources and regional high schools that we can partner with. I know we already partner with Pascack Valley and Pascack Hills with an internship program. So just expanding that, but really communicating that to parents and students, because many parents or students don't know that these pathways exist. So those are just some things that I would really advocate for, where we're offering opportunities for all students.
Okay, this is an area that really I don't have much expertise in, so to speak, but as a parent of recent high school graduates, I can attest that the AP courses and the curricula overall prepare them well for college. So if elected as a board member, I'd like to understand the curricula so I consult with the experts to educate myself on the district's needs and learn from the other board members, the superintendent, and the faculty. That said, the board doesn't determine the curricula for the district, right? Those decisions rest with the teachers and the faculty. So, our role is to make sure the curricula complies with the state guidelines and then find ways to fund those programs accordingly. And that would be where my focus is.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't think she did.
Yes.
Sorry, my bad.
I think similar to what Matt said about like the role of the school board and just ensuring that we are making sure that the district is running efficiently by creating goals, vision, policy, and ensuring that like the boots on the ground, right, the superintendent, the teachers, the principal are the ones executing on this work. And so it's upon us as a school board to ensure that, one, we have the right policies in place, ensuring that all of our AP courses are then translated into college credits. That's something really big and where I currently work. Kids are graduating, depending on the amount of AP course that they take, with college credits. So they're already like leaving with an associate's degree when they go on to college. So I feel like that's a really big kind of point or feature to like focus on and ensure that we are being mindful of. But again, it's also the superintendent, the teachers, the directors. They're the ones that are creating action plans and executing that work. We as the board, if elected, kind of create the vision and the